Centenarians, as in people who live past 100, are exceedingly rare, even in our modern world. But what about historical times? I've decided to keep on the work clothes because some may say it gives me a sense of authority on historical topics. There's some who say that is me, but there are many figures in history who are alleged to live quite old, one of which is Richard I and John I of England's mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, who lived to about 82. But what about Albert Azzo II of Milan? Albert Azzo II was born in 997 AD in either January or February, and he died in 1097 on August the 20th. It doesn't take a mathematician to realise that that means he lived to at least 100. And there he is! What an absolutely handsome fellow, depicted in the 1470s, so obviously he didn't look like that, and it's a bit of an unflattering appearance really, but that's the most contemporary image of him we have, so that's the one I'm going with. Albert Azzo II's father was called Albert Azzo, get this, the First, and he was born in about 970 AD, which means he had Albert Azzo II when he was about 27 years old, which fits well within the expected time frame of when men were meant to have children. His mother, Adele of Milan, was born in about 975 AD, which means she was 22 when she had Albert Azzo II. An alternative source, which still puts his date of birth at 997 AD, says that his father was 24 and his mother was 23 when he was born. This source also mentions where he was buried, and it says he lived to 101, which is actually impossible with the dates they give, but it does give some more backstory to where his remains lie. Unlike many nobles at the time, especially the firstborns who were content to just sit in their castles and live a life of luxury, Albert Azzo II was actually a bit political. He was a bit of a politician, really. And so there was a dispute between Pope Gregory VI and the Holy Roman Emperor, who was probably called Henry. Henry? Let me Google this. Sorry, I actually had my facts completely wrong. It's Pope Gregory VII and the Holy Roman Empire Henry IV. And this dispute began when the Roman Emperor wanted to choose who the bishops were in Italy. But the Pope said, hang on, that's my job, I want to do that. So Albert Azzo took the side of the Pope, which made the Holy Roman Emperor a bit annoyed. But he didn't seem to have any repercussions done against him, so I think perhaps he got away with it. Albert Azzo II, of course, married the daughter of a count in about 1035 or 1036 AD. I saw this in two sources and one of them said 1035, the other said 1036. But that would have been a bit late, and I think this is when historians get a bit confused, because Albert Azzo II would have been about nearly 40 when he got his first marriage, which was quite late for that time. After his first wife tragically passed away, he married again in about 1050 to another daughter of a count. And with his second wife he had two children, one of which died in 1128, and the second who died in 1131. But the date of birth for these two we don't actually have. I found another source that said he took a third wife, so he was into polygamy, which was very controversial at the time, especially since he was a fan of the Pope. The Pope is not a fan of polygamy. He also had an affair with a woman named Matilda, who he had a daughter born out of wedlock. Getting back onto the topic of Albert Azzo II being over 100 when he died, there is some other evidence. Chronicler Bernard of Constance writes in 1097 about the death of Albert Alonso II, and writes that he was over 100 years old. As this is literally a contemporary source, it can be taken with quite a lot of historical value. One other argument I found was that Albert Azzo II died in 1079, at the age of about 84. Whilst I do find this evidence quite unconvincing, there isn't really many records of Albert Azzo II between 1077, when he took the side of the popes against the emperors, and 1097, when he died. However, it is important to note that the source that claims he died in 1079 is a website, with no references. To conclude, I think that Albert Azzo II really did die at 100, and I'm basing this mostly on Bernard of Constance's chronicle, which gives contemporary evidence of the exact date, August the 20th, of his death, and also the age of his mother and father in their early 20s when they had him. As it remains, Albert Ozzo II is the first person we can reliably state in history did probably reach 100. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe, my Patreon is in the bio as usual, and goodbye.